The mystery of the Mapogos, the Rat King, and the Venus dinosaur. The legend of the Mapogo lions. Kruger National Park, spanning an area larger than Gyeongsangbuk-do and Seoul combined, is a treasure trove of wildlife. As a South African national park, it is a world-renowned destination for safaris and a sanctuary dedicated to preserving the ecosystem in its natural state. Because hunting was banned long ago and tourism has a deep history, the animals here are often unbothered by humans in vehicles. In the Sabi-san sector, famous for housing the Big Five, there once existed a legendary group of lions that ruled a territory roughly the size of Busan. These lions, whose lives unfolded like an epic saga, were known as the Mapogos. Most felids are solitary, but lions must form groups called prides to hunt large prey like African buffalo on the open plains. In 2001, 5 brothers were born into the Spartan Pride, sired by the powerful West Street Coalition: Rasta, Pretty Boy, Dreadlocks, Mr. T, and Kinky Tail. They were later joined by an older half-brother named Makulu. This group of 6 formed the Mapogo Coalition. Under Makulu's leadership, the Mapogos became killing machines. They didn't just hunt buffalo. They took down hippos and giraffes with ease. As they matured, they began a bloody campaign to seize territory. In 1 year, they reportedly killed scores of rival lions. Their rule was characterized by extreme brutality. They would even kill their own offspring or the lionesses they mated with if it served to maintain the bond between the brothers. Eventually, the empire split into the Western Kingdom, led by Makulu, and the Eastern Kingdom, led by the duo Mr. T and Kinky Tail. For years, they were invincible. However, by 2010, the brothers had aged. A new, younger coalition called the Majinjalanes challenged them. In a brutal night of combat, Kinky Tail was killed. Devastated and driven mad by the loss of his twin, Mr. T returned to the Western Kingdom, where he killed his own nephews to seize power, earning the nickname Satan. By 2012, the Mapogo era ended. Mr. T was killed by the Salatus Coalition, and the aged Makulu and Pretty Boy vanished into the wilderness, eventually succumbing to old age or starvation. Though the Mapogo Empire fell, they remain the most formidable lion coalition ever recorded in the Sabi Sands. The macabre omen, the Rat King. During the Middle Ages, Europe was gripped by the Black Death. While we now know fleas on rats spread the plague, medieval people lived in terror of a specific supernatural omen, the Rat King. A Rat King is a collection of rats whose tails have become intertwined, knotted, and stuck together by blood, excrement, or dirt, forming a single, struggling mass of animals. 1564, the first recorded sighting in Salzburg, Germany. 7 rats were found with knotted tails. Merchants killed them, fearing they were a precursor to calamity. 1828, the largest specimen ever found, consisting of 32 rats, was discovered in a chimney in Altenburg, Germany. It is still preserved in a museum today. Theories on the phenomenon. Hibernation. Many believe that rats huddling for warmth in winter accidentally get their tails glued together by frozen fluids. Hoax/politics. Some suggest rat kings were fabricated by people to mock the Pope, depicting a king sitting on the backs of the young, or to cause panic. Biological mystery. Modern scientists, such as Dr. Andre Miljedin, have tried to recreate the phenomenon in labs for years without success. To this day, the Rat King remains a mystery, a rare, tragic biological accident that history transformed into a terrifying omen of doom. Humanity and the desire for the extinct. Throughout history, humans competed with apex predators. Despite lacking claws or thick hides, humans won through long-distance endurance, superior throwing mechanics, and high intelligence. As we developed mass destruction technology, we moved from the safety stage of Maslow's hierarchy to self-actualization. Today, having conquered the wild, humanity no longer fears the beasts we once hid from. Instead, we are driven by a profound irony, a deep, creative desire to see and perhaps even resurrect the very creatures we, or time, wiped from the face of the earth. In the early 20th century, during the Belle Époque, a trend for selective breeding emerged among the aristocracy, desiring cute, small-sized dogs. Nobles repeatedly crossbred breeds with desired traits to create dogs that suited their tastes. Heinz Heck, director of the Hellebrunn Zoo in Germany, and his brother Lutz Heck, inspired by these breeding experiments, believed they could recreate an animal similar in appearance to the extinct aurochs. Known as the ancestor of all modern cattle, the aurochs, with its long horns, tough hide, and massive body, once roamed widely across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Noting that modern cattle share many characteristics with the aurochs, the Heck brothers believed that by continuously breeding cattle with traits most similar to the extinct beast, they could bring it back. The result was the Heck cattle, a new breed that looked remarkably like the aurochs. However, it was only a partial success. People hoped for a true restoration that reproduced not just the appearance, but the unique behavioral traits of the original. Years later, in 1953, Watson and Crick discovered the double helix structure of DNA, allowing humanity to finally access the secrets of life. In 1996, the world was shocked by the birth of Dolly the sheep, the first mammal cloned from an adult somatic cell at the Roslin Institute in the UK. Emboldened by Dolly's success, scientists launched ambitious projects to restore extinct species. Though they held hope for prehistoric creatures from thousands of years ago, the process was grueling. After decades of failure and frustration, a startling report emerged in April 2025. The U.S. biotech company Colossal Biosciences had successfully cloned the dire wolf, a predator thought to have gone extinct 10,000 years ago. This Pleistocene apex predator, far larger than modern wolves with long, razor-sharp canines, leapt across vast stretches of time to reappear in reality. By securing a dire wolf tooth from the Sheridan Cave in Ohio, 13,000 years old, and an ear bone from a prehistoric site in Idaho, 72,000 years old, the Colossal research team analyzed the data to determine fur color, jaw shape, and howling patterns. Rather than using traditional cloning, they utilized gene editing (CRISPR) to edit a specific individual to match the prehistoric organism. They isolated blood cells from a gray wolf, which shares 99.5% genetic identity with the dire wolf, and edited 14 key genes in the cell nucleus to match the dire wolf's DNA. This led to the birth of two males, Robles and Remus, in October 2024, and a female, Khaleesi, in January 2025. The results showed they were healthy and fertile. To raise them under optimal conditions, the team chose a private, 2,000-acre grassland. From just 2 weeks old, the pups displayed unique howling patterns distinct from gray wolves and exhibited superior muscle mass and size. Confirmed in their methods, Colossal announced plans to restore the woolly mammoth next. Since Asian elephants share 99.6% genetic similarity with mammoths, they believe modifying elephant genes can recreate mammoth traits. In March 2025, they even created a mouse with long, mammoth-like hair, predicting a full mammoth restoration by the end of 2028. The reality of de-extinction, Pleistocene Park. As restoration became a reality, concerns grew regarding the butterfly effect these creatures might have on nature. Both the public and academia began to seriously consider how to coexist with increasing populations of restored species. Colossal pointed to Pleistocene Park as the future home for the dire wolves and mammoths. Located about 5 kilometers from the village of Shersky in northern Siberia, this 144 square kilometer nature reserve was created by Russian scientist Sergei Zimov. Zimov, a geophysicist, hypothesized that the Siberian tundra was once a vast grassland during the Pleistocene because of the presence of herbivores. Not just climate. Herbivores eat moss, allowing grass to grow. Without them, moss takes over, leading to the current frozen state. By reintroducing the prehistoric ecosystem, he believes the tundra can be transformed back into mammoth steppe. For Zimov, colossal animals are the final puzzle pieces to prove his theory. However, some worry that releasing prehistoric predators could turn Pleistocene Park from an ideal habitat into an epicenter for an ecological disaster, much like a real-life Jurassic Park. The mystery of the Triassic Kraken. It was a strange night. In 1928, giant ichthyosaur fossils were discovered in the abandoned mining town of Berlin, Nevada. However, The Great Depression and World War II delayed excavations until 1954. What scholars found was a treasure trove of fossils named Shanosaurus, lizard of the Shoshone Mountains. Measuring 15 meters long and weighing up to 30 tons, Shanosaurus was an apex predator of the Triassic seas, larger even than the late Cretaceous Mosasaurus. Curiously, over 40 individuals of various ages were found piled together in one spot. Early theories suggested a mass stranding in shallow water, similar to modern whales. However, 1992 research proved the fossils were in deep-sea sediments. Even more bizarrely, the vertebrae were arranged in a neat, double-row pattern, an arrangement impossible via natural currents. In 2011, paleontologist Mark McMenamin proposed a provocative hypothesis. These bones were intentionally arranged by a 30-meter-long Triassic Kraken. He argued that modern octopuses are highly intelligent and capable of hunting sharks. A giant prehistoric cephalopod could have hunted Shanosaurus and arranged their bones like a self-portrait or a trophy, similar to how octopuses decorate their dens with shells. While many are skeptical, citing the lack of large cephalopod fossils from that era, McMenamin points out that soft-bodied creatures rarely fossilize. He highlights the 1978 incident involving the USS Stein, where a Navy ship's sonar dome was damaged by giant claws. Marine biologists estimated the claws belonged to a squid at least 45 meters long. Just as the giant squid was once a myth until specimens were found, the Kraken may one day be proven real. The lost paradise, dinosaurs on Venus? In the early 20th century, it was common sense that dinosaurs lived on Venus. Because Venus is closer to the Sun than Earth, it was believed to be a younger planet representing Earth's prehistoric past. This idea permeated pop culture, appearing in SF novels and even promotional materials for the 1939 World's Fair. Scientists in the 1920s published articles suggesting Venus was a lush jungle world ruled by reptilian monsters. However, science shattered this dream. In 1962, the U.S. probe Mariner 2 revealed surface temperatures of nearly 300 degrees Celsius. In 1967, the Soviet Venera 4 was crushed by atmospheric pressure 22 times higher than Earth's before even reaching the surface. Venus was not a tropical paradise. It was a Hell's Cape with 90 times the atmospheric pressure of Earth. Intriguingly, 2019 NASA simulations suggested that for 3 billion years, Venus did have a stable climate, 20 to 50 degrees Celsius, and oceans. About 750 million years ago, massive volcanic activity caused a runaway greenhouse effect, mirroring the Siberian Traps, event that caused Earth's Permian extinction. If not for that catastrophe, Venus might have remained a world where giant reptiles roamed. Perhaps in a parallel universe, a probe's camera is currently filming a massive dinosaur walking through a Venusian jungle. It was a strange night.